Hello everyone and welcome to Soul Show. My name is Soul and today we are reviewing the 5th installment into the Resident Evil film franchise. This is Resident Evil Retribution. I'm not gonna lie, I had to actually Google the title of this one. There's so many of these fucking movies I've seen now that I was like, which fucking one was it again? I was like, okay, Retribution. Here we go. So as of the time of this recording, I have seen all 6 movies. I watched the last 2 back to back. And this one is easily the worst in the entire franchise. So in the last movie, our heroes stood side by side on top of a boat. They had just finally gotten the leg up on the zombie apocalypse, and guess what? The entire boat got wiped out, and Alice is taken hostage to a random fucking Umbrella facility in, I think, Russia. And in this facility, there are giant simulations of like 5 blocks of different popular cities around the country. Apparently Umbrella was like making, you know, biological weapons. Like they're gonna use a T-virus to like convince different nations to, it was like the war, but with, instead of nukes, we had fucking biological weaponry. Yeah, it's a very stupid fucking reason to have these cool action scenes. It's just a fucking excuse at this point. All like logic, any sort of like central plot to the series, they don't give a fuck anymore. They every time we have one of these movies, it just erases and destroys everything that came before it. It's like, fuck all those other movies. Fuck that character you really cared about. It was just a fucking clone or something. Like Wesker, he's died like a bunch of times, and at this point I'm convinced, you know, he's just a fucking clone. But they don't even say that. He's just still alive. They don't explain a goddamn thing. They're all just clones. That's all you had to say. And when you do that, it takes the weight off of their existence. And when you just destroy like the end of the last movie and like all the characters that you've become attached to, you don't give a shit by the end of this. Like this movie introduces a little girl character that Alice has to protect. Who gives a shit? She's not going to be in the next movie. I can tell you that. And I remember a lot of the other Resident Evil films, like, you know, I kind of praise them for just kind of being cheesy, dumb science fiction slash horror slash action movies. At this point, it is just an action movie with zombies as a sideline. And it is not cheesy anymore. It's all fake. It's all digitalized. There's just hordes of CGI zombies. And these CGI zombies in the first couple movies were walkers. Now they run. Now they can shoot guns. Now we have Nazi fucking zombies for whatever reason. And all logic is completely gone. Granted, we never really had it, but at least there was like a base for like things. You know, there's at least a coherent plot. Now we have random Resident Evil characters from the other games, like Leon, one of the few characters I actually give a shit about in this franchise, and he's just a fucking guy with this terrible haircut and this terrible personality, and I know, again, I've seen the last film, he's not fucking in it, so why would I give a shit about what he does in this film? On top of that, all your other Resident Evil things that you've come to hate by now are intensified by tenfold. Characters you don't give a shit about just dying for little to no reason. A lot of shit being thrown at the screen for 3D purposes, and a lot of really, really bad slow-mo scenes. Again, this film would have a completely different runtime if not for slow motion. And again, they've introduced the idea of clones. There's this whole arc where there is a facility where there's a clone Alice who lives in a house, like, and she lives like a normal life and believes everything's normal. Yeah, that's just another fucking clone. And then we see a couple of our other characters. What's her name from the first movie? Michelle Rodriguez. She's back. I enjoyed her character in the first film. She's back just as a clone, and then she gets super clone powers, and then the good version of her good clone is around, and it's just like, what the fuck? Again, why do you give a shit about these characters anymore? Everything in this film is like to set up action pieces. It's like, it's like sketch comedy, but instead of sketches, it's like a bunch of random action scenes. And all the characters just happen to be the characters from fucking Resident Evil. It's fucking weird. In a way, I felt like this film was going for like its big all end all. Like it was gonna bring all the characters together. It's gonna have all these fucking cool things happen, and then it's gonna climax in the biggest cliffhanger ending of all time. And guess what? It didn't fucking pay off, because at this point in time, the entire franchise fell flat on its fucking ass. Like, there was a part of me that I remember when I watched the first couple movies, and I was trying to think, hey, maybe I can make like an argument that these films aren't that bad. Sure, like I gave them 6s, but they were like, 55 out of 100 kind of 6s. They were like very lukewarm 6s. But I was like, hey, maybe I can make the argument that they're just cheesy fucking action films. But now that I look at it, oh, that film was bad, that film was bad. I hate half of these films, and the other ones I find mediocre as hell. So no, I can't defend this franchise at all, because it's a shit franchise. Oh yeah, I really remember being bothered by the fact that Alice lost her powers, and she's human now, but she just has fucking superpowers? What was the point of taking away her superpowers? She still has fucking superpowers. Another thing, the bad guys have captured Alice so many times, and they just refuse to kill her. The entire movie franchise, they're trying to kill her, and whenever they capture her, they're just like, you know what? Let's use her. She can't escape. And then she fucking escapes, and they give her fucking gear right next to her holding cell, asking for her to escape. And this is a spoiler for the next movie, but in the next movie we find out that fucking Wesker is like, he gets betrayed by Umbrella. Maybe I'll make a leap and say maybe that version of Wesker was going against Umbrella, and that version of him got killed. But then they say like he was like a triple agent in the next movie. Okay, so Wesker betrays Umbrella, helps Alice escape in this movie, with Ada and all the people that work, like Leon. They all work for Wesker, apparently. That is the plot of this movie. And in the next film, we just start off by saying that Wesker betrayed everyone and killed them all, and they're all just in ruin. What the fuck kind of sense does that make? Just fucking kill her. What? Like, I would give this film a 1, but like, I kind of like how they did the opening sequence, like in Rewind, and I like that, like, one area where the floor was like an umbrella symbol, and there's like little things like that where I'm like, that visual or thing was kind of cool, so it doesn't get a 1 based off of that. That's all I can say about this film. But the rest of it, fuck it. Resident Evil Retribution gets a 2 out of 10 and the soul badge of shit. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, with that, I leave you.